A recent post I did about gatekeeping and atheism, there was a lot of gatekeeping atheism, so I figured I'd read something from this little book. This is the Bible of the modern atheist. Atheist and atheism are the problematic terms that we're just going to discuss, and whilst I have discussed the definitions and a variety of them, I just wanted to show you in some other writing how it is also described. So here he mentions that atheism is a term with multiple related meanings. Now, the first one he discusses is philosophical atheism. And he says, this is the philosophical position that asserts the non-existence of God or gods. It represents a conscious, explicit rejection of theistic belief, often associated with philosophers such as Nietzsche and Russell. So, philosophical atheism is basically when atheism is viewed as a proposition or belief no gods exist. It doesn't mean that you're absolutely certain of this, it just thinks what you think it's most probable that no gods exists when you're an atheist in philosophical atheism. There's also practical atheism, which he says this form of atheism is characterized by a lifestyle that does not acknowledge the existence of God or gods. Practical atheists may not explicitly deny such existence, but their actions and ethical frameworks do not derive from religious beliefs. So when we're talking about a practical atheist, this is also sometimes used as a pejorative by theists. They might say, oh, well, you're just acting like an atheist. You know, there's no difference between a sinner and an atheist. For all intents and purposes, you're an atheist. You might say that someone who is an agnostic or an ignostic, for example, will be an atheist for practical purposes. There's different ways that this term can be applied, but the end of it is someone could be a theist and be described as a practical atheist, or you're just talking about some form of non-theist. We then have this version, agnostic atheism. Agnostic atheism is sometimes characterized by different terms, but essentially this perspective combines atheism with agnosticism. Agnostic atheists do not believe in a god or gods, but they do not claim absolute certainty of their non-existence. So that is one way agnostic atheism is applied, and essentially it's often used by those who would typically, within the philosophical realm, be an agnostic, except they like the term atheist or atheism, so they go with agnostic atheism instead. There is nothing in philosophical atheism that says you have to claim absolute certainty or knowledge to believe no gods exist. It's just that you're holding a positive belief. So all this is basically saying, you know, anyone who doesn't hold that positive belief but also doesn't believe in gods, they're some form of non-theist. Some people talk about it as they're an agnostic atheist or some other form. So there are a variety of different definitions of atheism and atheist, and not everybody fits into one framework or another. You don't have to use the philosophical definitions. In fact, on social media, a lot of people use the whole lack of belief definition of atheism. So it would probably make sense to assume that people are using that definition, although I would always check with someone, because with polysemous terms like atheist and atheism, the more important thing is the underlying content. So you should check with the person you're having the discussion with, how are you using this term? And then make those mental adjustments. I know, for example, a lot of the people who I talk to that identify as atheists, I would probably refer to as agnostic, but they, to them, are atheists. So I will talk to them as if they are an atheist.